Hello everyone, it's me, OneGamer4, back in another video. Today, we are going to be reacting to MatPat, and this time it's another FNAF video. It's been a while since we last reacted to a FNAF video, and this is no different. So we're going to be reacting to Game Theory, FNAF, Golden Freddy Never Existed. Wait, what? What you mean by that? Well, I guess we're going to have to watch the video and find out. Oh, come on!
What if I told you that everything we thought we knew about FNAF was a lie? That Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy were never possessed. That
What?
the bite of 87 never happened.
What?
That the bite of 83 never happened.
What?
What if I told you that William Afton didn't die because some spirits harassed him in a back room, but because he got careless and wet? What if I told you that Golden Freddy never existed? You would all think that I was crazy, right?
Yes.
After 60 episodes covering this series that I'd finally lost it. Or
Yes, and the fact that we reacted to every single video. Okay, well, not really every single FNAF video, but we still made it.
gotten so desperate that I needed you to throw it all away and start again for content. But I assure you, I'm still here. Totally sane, or yes, as sane as I've ever been, and totally suspecting that some, maybe even all of the statements that I just made are 100% true. So open your ears and listen to what I have to say, because once I'm done, none of us will look at this franchise the same way again.
I bet.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where... Am I the only one that hears that weird humming sound? I think it's coming from the subscribe button. Can you help me smash it?
Dang.
Oh, thank goodness. That was driving me insane. Huh, what's this small disc that fell out? Probably not important. Today is a big day as far as FNAF Theory goes.
Is it because of the illusion discs? If it's the illusion disc, you're already gonna make me lose about this, MatPat.
Usually I'm here picking apart details from the newest book, or trying to solve one very specific part of the franchise's history, or reminding you that robot kids do in fact exist and Gregory is one of them. But this episode has a wider scope. It's bigger. It touches literally everything released in the franchise thus far. I don't know if I agree with today's theory or not. I don't even know if I like today's theory or not. Scratch that, I do know. Kinda hate it, and what it means for the franchise. But regardless of whether you agree or disagree, love it or hate it, I am asking you to keep an open mind about it, because this one feels important. And the implications of it, if true, would certainly result in the biggest shakeup for the series since the conclusion of FNAF 6. Today, I'm asking you to take everything that you thought you knew about FNAF 1, 2, 3, and 4. Possessed animatronics, the crying child, the missing children's incident, the entire existence of Golden Freddy. Take all of that and burn it to the ground. Maybe not burn it. We've seen that tends not to work. Take it all and put it through a paper shredder or something, will ya? Because none of it matters. None of it. It's all wrong. Or maybe it isn't. But before I explain why, I have to tell you that
Oh, come on, MatPat. Another one, but... Alright. You got my attention, so, Alright, let's see it. Let's see it. Okay, so...
There's some film theory merch in there too. It's kind of cool, I guess. But all of it is waiting for you down in the description below, and you better do it quick before I decide to retcon it all out of existence.
Alright, so here we are to the final bit. Hopefully that's the final bit. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to go check out his merch, go over to his I'll put the OG link to this video so you can go check the merch sale. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Speaking of retconning, back in 2019, we got the release of Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted, otherwise known as FNAF VR. A game that, to this day, ranks as my third favorite from the franchise. On one hand, it was looking forward to the next phase of the series by introducing a new villain, Glitch Trap. But it also had its feet firmly planted in the past, a culmination of everything that had come before in a very literal way, by collecting the first 3 games and turning them into VR experiences. It really felt like an inflection point for the series, a transition from the old story of a serial killer in a haunted pizzeria to the new stories it had yet to tell about the killer living on through technology. But buried in the game were some lines that made everyone stop and go, huh? Right at the top, we got this moment. We know that Fazbear Entertainment
that one.
Something of a
bad reputation, and while it's true that some stories associated with our name were loosely based on actual events, the majority of them were total fabrications from the mind of a complete lunatic. Lawsuits pending.
With the lunatic shown on screen being, of course, a picture of Scott Cawthon himself. It felt like good meme fodder, a funny meta joke that also poked fun at Fazbear Entertainment papering over their bloody history. But then the game chose to double down. In one of the game's hidden lore tapes, we learned more about this lunatic spreading lies about the Fazbear restaurants.
They lied to all of us. They told us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer. But that's not true at all. Fazbear Entertainment hired the game developer. Those indie games were designed.
We all remember all this. Yes, we did.
Of what happened. It's an elaborate cover-up.
It was weird. It seemed like FNAF VR was actively throwing into question everything we thought we knew about the franchise's lore. At the time, I went on the record to say this: if FNAF VR's tapes are to be believed, pretty much everything we know could all be thrown out as complete fabrications. The long story short here is that FNAF VR, in making Scott part of the Fazbear cover-up, is the franchise's way of rebooting the story. It's explicitly telling us that everything we've known up to this point is wrong. It's a distraction. And that's largely where the community left it. It was a bit of a weird call for the series to disregard everything that had come before, but honestly, it would have been fine. Here's the old original story arc with the first 6 games, and here's the new one moving forward. 2 separate story arcs told within the same universe.
Yes.
Fine. Until Security Breach came out.
And
so
there it
was
is.
a key player again, and we were exploring the burned remains of the FNAF 6 location. And the idea of the first 6 games being the crazed ramblings of a hired lunatic were largely forgotten as we were thrust yet again back into the story of the Aftons.
Yep, and I keep saying it once and I keep saying it twice. The Afton ending, the Afton saga needs to go, man. I know that people are going to say, ooh, you should have dealt with it. William Afton's never go. He needs to go, dang it.
Business as usual, only this time there was Music Man.
Best
so that
character.
was pretty much the status quo for the past year. But then, in late September, the unthinkable happened. We got another book. I know, I said the B word. I'm sorry, but stick with me. This one's different. You see, this one delivers on the hope that we've had for the books from the very beginning, that they would take small moments from the games and expand upon them to bring more clarity. Guess what moment from the games they chose to expand upon? The story of a rogue indie developer hired by Fazbear Entertainment.
Yep, I read that too in my second channel.
And if there was any lingering doubt as to how this story fit into the games, the title was none other than Help Wanted. I'm about to summarize what exactly happens in the story, but the TLDR of it is exactly what we predicted back in 2019, that everything you thought you knew about the franchise is dead, just not exactly in the way that we thought, and it suddenly changes everything about how we should be approaching this franchise moving forward. In the story, we follow a character named Steve,
Yes.
an indie game developer stuck in a dead-end
Stevie.
job while working on a, quote, fetch quest-based game featuring cartoony chipmunks. Now, what could that be a reference to?
Yep, Chipper and
Scott? Just
Sons.
like we hear about in FNAF VR, Steve is contacted by Fazbear Entertainment to create a series of games in order to help rebrand the company. At first, he turns down the offer. Not the company to take no for an answer, Fazbear then sets up an elaborate plot where they catfish Steve into a date with the woman of his dreams. During the date, he passes out, only to wake up and find that suddenly he's married to the woman and suffering from severe memory loss. This happens a few more times, waking up to discover that he now has children, or that the house he lives in is being foreclosed. Suddenly, in desperate need of money, he contacts Fazbear Entertainment and starts making games for him. 4 games, to be specific. All the while, a constant ringing is happening in his ears. Bit by bit, he becomes more sleep-deprived and paranoid, which then feeds into his games.
And then the family turns
horrific
into
monsters that keep popping out of the walls, which only pushes him to work harder. And throughout it all, the ringing continues to build, rotting his brain. Eventually, Steve discovers what's going on. The high-pitched sound that he keeps hearing has been creating illusions used to gaslight him. His house, just a series of blank rooms. The night terrors, amusement park jump scares coming out of the walls. His beautiful family, robots with plastic faces and wheels.
There it is.
It actually sounds a lot like the staff bots. Steve is then given a choice of going back to the miserable real world or returning to the happiness that he felt inside the illusion. He chooses the illusion, giving his robot wife a hug, who then stabs him to death. Oh, also there's a DJ on the radio.
Excuse me, what? I didn't think that he died. I mean, why? I thought he was just accepting the piercing stabs. Oh no, they did Steve dirty.
DJ Dan, the Music Man. It's not important to the lore, it's just for the memes. It is a super sad story. It's also in no way a tale from the Pizzaplex, considering the place isn't mentioned once. But more than anything else, it's a story that confirms some of our greatest fears about the franchise. First and foremost, illusion discs are now officially a thing in the games. If you don't know what illusion discs are, then good for you. You clearly avoided reading the novels. I, however, not so lucky.
And unfortunately, for the second channel, I will be reading the OG books. Hoorah. Great. There's just more to stack up.
Simply, these things use high-pitched noises to trick the human mind into creating intensely real illusions of things that aren't really there. A robot appears exactly like a human. A pizzeria is more decorated than it actually is. Characters turn practically invisible on camera. These are all ways that they've been used in the books, but up until this point, we've never had a reason to believe that they were in the game universe. The only time that I've suspected that they might be a thing in the games is this scene from Sister Location, when we remove a random flashing disc from Funtime Freddy's chest. It was just speculation at the time, but now, going back, listen to that scene.
The chest cavity should now be open. Remove the power module from the chest cavity. Great work.
You hear it? The buzzing? That humming is
Yeah,
only present
I
in
heard.
scenes where we're directly interacting with an animatronic in close proximity.
And that was
Just
very
saying, there
creepy
might have been
too.
more evidence to suggest that these things were actually in the games earlier than we thought. But hindsight's 2020. With this new story, we know it's valid technology. And that has huge implications for things that we see throughout Security Breach. Like when we hear high-pitched ringing and have distorted vision anytime Vanny runs past us.
Yep.
Why Glamrock Freddy apparently can't see Vanny until he gets Roxy's eyes. It's all much more likely now because she's using illusion discs. It may also play into the mystery of who Patient 46...
Actually, that could very well be valid, to be honest. I mean, because I thought she was using some weird thing, but I think it would kind of be crazy and weird to have some technology and ear-piercing things in a mask. But then again, she is controlled by William Afton, so I mean, insanity transfers. So I guess that makes sense.
In Retro CD number 15, we hear this clip.
I have this still shot the text pulled from the security footage that recorded you in the Pizzaplex. That's you, isn't it? I know this image is distorted, but I think it looks like you. You're talking to someone. Or something. They almost look like rabbit ears.
One of the consistent features of the illusion discs is that they distort or blur any images that appear on camera. We see this all throughout the fourth closet, so the fact that the still image and the distortion are directly being called out here in the CDs indicate that Patient 46 may also be hiding behind an illusion disc. Who knows, if my guess was right and Gregory is meant to be Patient 46, that could be why he's appearing all blurry here in the camera shots from the DLC poster. Admittedly, that opens its own can of worms and contradictions that would merit their own discussion. Like, why would he be clearing all these other pictures? I'm just tossing it out as something for us to chew on. Much more importantly, though, the Help Wanted story confirms that FNAF 1, 2, 3, and 4 are canonically video games within Freddy's fictional universe. They were created by a hired gun. A hired gun who, in the story, is confirmed to not be familiar with the events that happened at Freddy's. Quote from the story, "It took a few seconds for the name Fazbear to ring a bell, but then Steve remembered the kids' pizza places that once had been wildly popular, but had suffered a downfall after a variety of criminal allegations. There had been talk of murders, though Steve didn't remember how many. There was weirder stuff too. Stories about paranormal events and that kind of nonsense. Steve doesn't actually know the stories and events that took place. He doesn't remember how many kids died. He doesn't believe in paranormal activity. He is an unreliable narrator, which therefore puts everything in those first 4 games into question. He knew rumors of paranormal activity, so he created possessed animatronics. He knew about murders, so he put in minigames depicting kids being murdered. As for facts, though, he cannot be trusted. And the story tries to make it crystal clear that FNAF 4 was largely of his own creation, born out of the torture that Fazbear was subjecting him to. As his hallucinations get more nightmarish, Steve starts seeing monsters literally appear out of the walls. One of them is described as follows. Quote, "It was the head of something. It was small but bulbous and vain. Its large eyes almond-shaped with cat-like pupils. It lunged forward from the hole in the wall and parted its jaws to reveal a mouthful of sharp-looking teeth. Its pointed tongue darted out like a snake's when it sniffed the air. This
Nightmare
moment
Foxy.
isn't just to show us Steve's torture, it's to show us the influence that it has on the games that he's making. Look at the description. Does it remind you of anything?
Nightmare
A character
Foxy.
with cat-like eyes, a long pointed tongue, sharp teeth, who likes to pop out unexpectedly. It's Nightmare Foxy from FNAF.
Don't you jump scare me.
This picture
Yeah, right there, see?
leading up into the game, especially the long pointed tongue. Who else pops out from the closet, from under the bed, from behind a TV in that game?
Yeah.
Foxy. The book is spelling out for us why that game is so different, why it's no longer a game about Fazbear Pizzeria. The torture became so much that the story had shifted from being a Fazbear story to being a Steve story. 4 games, 1 story. It's the clue that Scott gave us a long time ago during a live stream after the release of FNAF 4. At first, I suspected the line was all about dream theory, that all of it was happening in the nightmares of a child. And I think that one was right. Then it shifted to the 4 games being about one family, the Aftons, as their kids grappled with the sins of their father. And I think
Yes.
that was also right. But now it's changed once again. It's now 4 games about one new story, Steve's story. The story of a game designer that was being gaslit by an evil robotics company. You know, I gotta hit.
Okay, I mean, not bad. I mean, I guess that's convincing, but, I was gonna save this for my, review about it, but, doesn't it also sound like Scott Coffin in some ways? I mean, not trying to put parallels on Scott, but I mean, like, you know, having a dead-end job and then made the games. The first one was popular, so he decided to make more games. I mean, it kind of puts in there.
This is Scott. It's actually impressive how many times he's been able to make that single phrase describe the same set of 4 games. It also means that Scott gets to have his cake and eat it too. He gets to make those first 4 games